So, before we head to Atlas and meet Ryan, let's check on making sure that we've asked Rebecca and Simon anything left.
A few more questions, please. Thank you. What do you know about this?
It's an advertisement. They had it designed by an agency, I think.
And when was that?
Last year sometime.
Have you seen one of these before?
Is it meant to be black like that?
I think so.
No.
Be back later on, if that's okay. There you go. Come on. Thank you. Smells nice. What is that?
Chili pork.
Oh, I had no idea you were a cook.
Oh no, I used to be more into it. No, I don't do it so much. Used to grow my own herbs and everything.
Oh, here?
No, at the farmhouse where I used to live.
Oh, where was that?
That's where James lives. Yeah, we used to share a house together. The farmer used to let us use a corner of his greenhouse to grow stuff.
I didn't know you knew James that well.
Well, didn't really get on.
Where are the greenhouses?
Well, it's just through the farmyard at the back.
Interesting.
Anyone else now feeling hungry for chili pork? That actually sounds good. I would love to try some of that.
Ever seen one of these?
Yeah, that's one of James's. He's into like New Age stuff, mysticism, magic spells, that sort of thing. He's nuts, though. I mean, he thinks the government are tracking him or something.
Why would he think that?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
So, Simon just gave us a bit of extra information. He just told us there was an extra area at the farmhouse. Let's go check that out before we think about going to see Ryan.
Simon mentioned another greenhouse on the farm. Must be up the hill over there. I wonder if James knows this is here. Don't know what it is, but be interesting to see what he says about it.
Dried leaves. We'll ask him about that later. Let's go ahead and meet Ryan. Every time I say that, I almost feel like saying Andrew Ryan. You know, from BioShock.
Ryan!
Yes?
Detective Inspector Jenks. I'm conducting an investigation in the area. Wouldn't mind asking you a few questions. Is that all right?
Come in, Inspector.
Thank you.
Drink, Inspector.
I'd better not, eh?
So you wanted to speak to me?
I believe that Kate Vine was a student at Atlas.
Kate Vine? Well, yes, she was. All of this has been thoroughly investigated, Inspector. It was suicide.
Well, we have reason to believe there may be rather more to it than that.
Really? Well, then, in that case, I'd be prepared to assist in any way possible.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
Now, yes, he did say drink, and that could mean anything. For all we know, that could be just water. But In this case, it's usually referred to as an alcoholic drink. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I just want you to remember that is what that could be.
I believe the last time you saw Kate Vine was at the pub last Friday, then you came straight back with some of the students, is that right?
Yes, I like to have a glass of port or two after a long day. Benefits of being married to the landlady.
How did she seem that night?
The landlady?
Kate.
Oh, Kate. Well, she was her usual self, drunk.
That was usual.
It was for her, yes. I mean, it didn't impair her ability, though. She was a very bright star, lots of potential, very enthusiastic.
So she seemed to be enjoying the course?
Well, as far as anybody could tell, yes.
When did you first meet her?
When she joined, about 3 months ago.
And you hadn't met her before then?
Yeah.
So you didn't suspect there was anything wrong?
Well, do you mean, did I expect her to drown herself? Of course I didn't inspect her. It was quite a shock. Nobody expected that.
So, I mentioned this earlier, but yes, he is the actor that I like to think of when it comes to the hammy acting that I'm referring to in this game. He does tend to get a little hammy, and with his little, smiles and chuckles and jokes about the landlady. Like, he really does seem to enjoy hamming it up.
Have you seen this before?
Not that I recall.
You don't know whether Kate had lost this or not?
No, I've never seen it before, sorry.
It's also worth noting that he's also part of another game that was kind of an FMV game called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, if you'd like to see more of him in other stuff.
Does Simon Thompson ride a bike, do you know?
I think so, yes. I think he drives as well, but I might be mistaken.
Have you tried Simon's homebrew?
Does he make homebrew? No, I haven't had the pleasure, sorry.
Know what this is?
Yes. It's a freedom necklace. It's a symbol that we use on the course. It's supposed to represent freedom from the chains of your ancestry.
Have you ever bought one of these?
I haven't, but I've seen the students wearing them.
What do you know about the broken window at the back of the pub?
Oh, Rebecca told me about it. I don't know how it got smashed, though. I told her to tape over it. We can't have anybody cutting themselves. You have to be very health and safety conscious these days.
Can you tell me about this?
Haven't seen that for a while. We had a friend who used to make them for us for the course. He passed away last year.
What does the symbol mean?
It's borrowed from paganism. It's the symbol of the triple goddess, the mother, maiden, and crone, represented by the waxing and waning of the moon. It's an ancient symbol. It predates Christianity. Some people say that it dates back to Paleolithic times.
And is that relevant to the course?
Well, no. I mean, it's a symbol we dabbled with, but it's not particularly relevant. We don't use it on the course, no.
Do you know anything about an argument in the pub last Friday?
What time?
I believe it wasn't long after the pub opened.
No. I usually leave for the manor house about 6. I start preparations around 6:30. I like to get a head start.
Tell me about this.
It's the first one we ever had made. We had it designed by an agency after we'd spent weeks trying to find a name for this place.
It took you weeks.
Don't be like that, Inspector. I thought it was a rather grand name. Actually, if I'm being honest, I plucked it out of thin air one night in the George while I was having a few gin and tonics. Well, actually, somebody left a book and I stole it.
See what I mean? I think the actor is just having a ball with this.
Have you seen one of these before?
I believe that looks like a scrying mirror to me.
You have seen one before?
Well, I used to have one myself, actually, along with lots of other bits and pieces of that nature. Silly things, you know.
Really?
Yes, when I was in my teenage years, I had quite an obsession with that kind of thing. I was a very somber child, and well, not that you could tell, always playing fantasy games, reading books about that kind of malarkey, you know.
What sort of books did you read?
Well, books on black magic, not the chocolates, witchcraft, satanic rituals, that kind of thing. I grew out of it, of course.
But you're not into that sort of thing now.
Of course I'm not. I don't need to believe in the supernatural, Inspector. The natural world is far more interesting. Don't you think so?
Do you know what this is?
Looks like chopped tea bags to me. What is it?
I just thought you might know.
I don't know anything about plants, Inspector. What you should do is ask Rebecca. She knows far more about these things than I do. Messy things, growing things.
All right. So, I don't think we got anything to contradict him with, but we did get more information, and we also got a lead on what these are. So,
that's it for the time
perhaps
being.
we
Thank
should
you.
go see Rebecca next, before we go around and talk to everybody else. And especially before we go back and talk to James.
Ask you a couple more things, please. Do you know what these are?
Oh, magic mint. Where did you find this?
Magic mint.
Salvia divinorum. I used to grow it years ago. It makes you trip.
In what way?
It's a hallucinogenic. And legal. Quite a dangerous combination, really.
Do you use it?
Me? No. No, I don't even take medicines. I like to stay pure.
I didn't expect Rebecca to know about growing drugs. I know she claims not to use them herself, but I'm not so sure.
Now, this is what I find interesting. A legal hallucinogenic. Now, I actually don't know if that's the case, like, worldwide. Maybe that's the case in the UK. I'm honestly not sure if it is here in the States or not. I'm just kind of curious, like, what exactly falls into, how do they determine if a hallucinogenic is legal or illegal? Like, what is it about salvia, which is a drug that they say makes you trip, and it's a hallucinogenic, and it makes you trip, and it's legal. And I'm just like, so what would it have to take for this to make it illegal? Now, here's the thing, it's like, it's a drug, but it's a legal drug, so, it's not like we can go back to James and be like, dude, you're growing drugs, because it's a legal drug, so, oh well. But, considering that we're dealing with a situation where someone drowned, and it's possible maybe, now she had morphine in her system, but is it also possible this could have also played a role? That's where this becomes relevant. So, now that we know what this is, we now need to go back and talk to some people and be like, hey, do you know what this is? Or do you know anything about this? So, we'll start with Ryan, we'll go to Simon and Emma, and then we'll work our way over to James.
Just a few more questions, if you don't mind. Have you ever heard of Salvia divinorum?
No. What is it?
It's a hallucinogenic plant, a legal one, at least for the moment.
I've no interest in drugs, Inspector. My job. That's the only drug I need. As trite as that may sound.
Do you know any students who may have used hallucinogens?
No. My students aren't interested in that kind of thing. Besides, no one is allowed drugs or alcohol onto the site. I don't think anyone has ever brought drugs to Atlas.
Do you have any medicines on site at all?
No, we're not allowed. Insurance purposes.
Keep that in mind for later. Also, it's funny that could be alcohol. He's literally holding it in his hand while saying, we don't allow alcohol onto the premise. Except apparently for him.
That's all for the moment.
Oh, sure, the students aren't allowed to bring alcohol onto the site, but him? Oh yeah, he's totally fine to go ahead and just have a drink right there in his lounge and be like, would you care for a drink? I'm just saying.
Ask about a few more things, please. You know what these are, by any chance?
No. Sorry. I don't know anything about plants or things like that, but you should ask Rebecca. She used to live on a farm. She'd know.
So that's another way you can find out that you gotta go ask Rebecca about it.
Ever heard of Salvia divinorum?
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's a drug, isn't it?
Yeah. Hallucinogenic drug. Ever tried it?
No, I've never taken any illegal substances.
I love that Jinx said that as if he was like, yeah, it's a hallucinogenic. You want to try it? I'm just saying, I got some right here. You and me, 50 minutes. We can just have a nice time of just having a nice trip. I just love how he said that. That was so funny.
Be back later on, if that's okay. Know what these are?
No. Look a bit like sage leaves.
Haven't seen them before, though.
Not at all, no.
Ever heard of Salvia divinorum?
Salvia divinorum.
Magic mint, same thing.
Oh, yeah, you mean the drug? Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, ever tried it?
Well, once or twice, yeah. But it's not really my sort of thing. It messes with your brain. I've never tried any other drugs either. Nothing like that. Nothing hallucinogenic.
Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Now let's go back and confront James with this.
Couple more questions, if that's okay. Could you tell me what these are, please? I found them in the greenhouse.
Been snooping around on the farm, have we?
It's called investigating, James.
Yeah. It's just mint. Mint leaves. For cooking.
Yeah, I heard you were a bit of a budding chef.
Dabble a bit. Won a few competitions.
Very impressive. So you normally just leave packets of mint lying around?
Must have dropped it.
Ever heard of Salvia divinorum, James?
What's that? Skin cream?
It's not a skin cream, no. It's a plant.
Really? Don't know much about plants.
So you've never heard of Salvia?
No.
Hold on a second. Didn't he also just say that he won some cookery competitions? But in case you're wondering... No. Doesn't quite count. There has to be something that maybe we just don't have quite yet. That lets us know whether or not he actually does know a thing or two about plants.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
Let's go take a walk through the woods once more, shall we?
What are you? Private eye?
No, I'm a police inspector.
Who are you looking for?
I'm investigating a death in the village.
That student then. They did one last year too. Same place.
Did what?
Drowned a student. Ask that psycho about it. He runs that business cult thing up at the big house. Bunch of nut jobs.
Hey, what was the student's name?
Liam something. Or sod.
Atlas's reputation precedes them. I think I might call the station, find out a bit more about this Liam.
Hello, DCI Jones speaking.
Mike, it's Jenks.
All right, Jenks, I thought you'd clocked off tonight.
Yeah, the chief's put me on a case tonight, the Edenton girl.
Friday night, you poor sod. I thought that was sorted out anyway.
I wish it was. Listen, are you near a computer?
I can be. Yeah, go on.
Do you know anything about a death last year? Someone called Liam in Edenton Village?
Don't remember it. Hang on, let's have a look. Edenton Village. Yeah, Liam Rogers. Says suicide last year.
Suicide?
Hang on, 2 suicides in 2 years, both on Edenton. I mean, you've got your work cut out, Jenksy.
Yeah, don't I know it.
Right, well, good luck with that and see you Monday.
Thanks, Mike.
So, it looks like we need to ask some people about poor Liam. In fact, let's go straight back to James, shall we? And be like, hold on a second, James.
Questions, please. Did you know Liam?
Liam who?
Liam who died.
You mean Liam who killed himself?
Yeah.
He was in my year, on a different course.
What course was Liam on?
Can't remember, not mine.
What was yours?
Plant science. First time I knew about Liam was when he killed himself.
Right, so you didn't meet him?
No.
So that's what I needed right there. So, first off, that retort by Jenks was fantastic. Liam who died. That was great. But we got him. That's exactly what we needed right there. Has a degree in plant science. And yet he says, oh, I don't know much about plants.
Aha. So, your degree is in plant science, but you don't seem to know anything about plants.
Well, still got a lot to learn.
So you're still saying you've never heard of salvia?
Didn't say that.
So you have.
Maybe.
And you do grow it?
Yeah, it's legal, why not?
What do you do with it?
I use it for explorative purposes, meditation.
And does this involve anybody else?
Why?
Do you sell it or give it to anybody else?
No.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just for me, nobody else.
And that's the only drug you grow, is it?
Feel free to go and look if you want.
It's okay, I'll look later. The only drug he grows. Not sure I believe that, James. Then again, would someone growing illegal drugs bother growing a legal one?
So here's the thing. He says it's for his own private use only. And yet, he said he traded some herbal tea with Simon.
Aha. When you say herbal tea, do you mean salvia?
Probably.
So you traded salvia tea with Simon for his homebrew?
So?
So why did you say you didn't give salvia to anybody else? Did you give it to anybody else? How many people did you give it to? Did you give it to Kate?
No.
How about Liam?
I didn't have anything to do with him dying, if that's what you mean.
So you did give him salvia?
Yes, I gave him salvia because he asked for it. But that's not what killed him.
Well, he committed suicide, James, because of psychological issues that probably weren't helped by him trying hallucinogenic drugs.
Didn't commit suicide. You don't know anything about him. You don't know what happened.
Okay, so what happened then?
Do you even know about Third Eye?
Go on.
You don't know about Third Eye. If you don't know about Third Eye, you know nothing about Liam's death. I mean, forget salvia.
Fine, tell me then.
Third Eye was a cult. It We had our very own psycho cult operating right here from our village hall. And I got rid of them, single-handed. I'm the one who got rid of Third Eye. Did they tell you that at the station?
Okay, start again. They were what?
You don't know anything, do you? Look. They were reeling in students, pretending to be some sort of happy life course. You know, we can make your life better sort of crap. Then they were putting everyone through this brainwashing program to make them compliant, then selling them on. It's all there.
What do you mean, selling them on?
Selling them. Like objects, commodities.
To who?
To anyone who could afford them. Top politicians, famous celebrities, wealthy businessmen, you name it.
What for?
You don't get it, do you? Third Eye were making and selling slaves. They were black market slave traders. They were wiping people's personalities using ECT, brainwashing, cocktails of hard drugs, deliberately turning them into perfect slaves. You know how much slaves are worth on the black market these days?
No.
Millions. And I'm talking per slave. That's why anyone who stood up to them and threatened to go public like Liam was just killed off. They didn't give a damn.
So you're saying Liam was murdered by Third Eye?
Exactly what I'm saying. So I started looking into it. They were all saying it was suicide, but there's no way.
So, did you ever actually meet Liam?
I found out about him.
And how did you find out about all this other stuff?
It's obvious, you can tell. I met some of the students. You could see straight away there was something wrong. They were like zombies. You know, I can tell when someone's got ECT damage or when they've been through mind conditioning. It's just obvious. I mean, US military used all these techniques back in the 50s. It's all documented, you can read about it. They showed all the same signs.
So, did you ever actually go to a meeting?
No, but I knew what went on.
How?
From what people said who'd been through it.
Okay, so do you know anyone I could speak to who did go through it?
Well, no. Look, it doesn't matter. Why did they close down if it wasn't true? They just closed down and disappeared overnight after I put all the flyers up. Bit of a coincidence.
But that was just after Liam died.
Yeah?
And do you think that had anything to do with it?
Maybe, but it was the flyers that forced them to close.
Okay. Do you mind if I keep this?
Yeah, you investigate it. It'll all come out. Third Eye definitely killed Liam.
Well, that was a lot to take in. Does James really believe all this stuff? This is the first I've heard about Third Eye. Question is, what's their connection with Atlas, if there is one?
The truth about Third Eye. Do not join this dangerous cult. Third Eye are grooming and controlling students' minds to make money from wealthy and corrupt businessmen. They pretend to be able to improve your life, but in fact they will rob your identity and use barbaric methods like ECT to wipe your memories and destroy your personality. They are based at Edenton Village Hall. Do not join. Those who attempt to expose them will be killed, like Liam Rogers. Notice that symbol there. Also, take note that it says they were at the village hall. Interesting, isn't it? So now that we have this, we can go around and ask about it. But I want to remind you guys about something. You remember this key? Do you remember where we found this key? Near the village hall. What did this key open? It opened that outhouse behind the pub, which led us to this. And that right there should give us the very next clue as to where we should go with this.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
I'm glad that they had enough of a budget to make sure the quality of these here were readable. Because this could be all just kind of be like low texture, like unreadable stuff as we've seen in other games. Because I've seen plenty of other games do that where they have stuff like this, but you can't read it because the texture isn't high enough quality for you to actually read it. But here it's like, no, we're actually going to make sure that you can actually read it since some of these things can actually be helpful. So now, let's go ahead and make our stops at places like Rebecca's, Simon, Emma, and then eventually move our way towards where Ryan is. Because obviously we have to ask Ryan about this.
Ask you a couple more things, please. What do you know about Liam?
You mean Liam who took his life? He used to play in a band, Black Rock or something? No, Black Stone. Very gothic. I used to let them play in here sometimes at the weekends. They were quite good.
Did you know there was anything wrong? I mean, why he might have...
No, I didn't know him very well.
Now, here's an example of what I'm talking about when I said that you can use some information from other characters to then spot a contradiction with someone else. We cannot use this choice directly on someone else, but we can remember this information. A band called Blackstone. That right there is information we can use on someone else later, but we'll get there.
Have you seen this before?
Don't take any notice of that.
Why?
James Wilson is a fantasist. He spends his time pretending to cast spells in the woods. He's not exactly a stable person. And, I heard that he was involved with growing cannabis.
Really?
Well, don't quote me on that.
So you don't think there's any truth at all to this?
None at all.
James grow cannabis? Oh, I would never even think of that of him. I'd be shocked if he wasn't growing cannabis.
A few more questions, if you don't mind.
It's like, wait, you grow this, but you don't grow cannabis? Come on, man.
What do you know about Liam?
Liam?
Local lad. Took his life.
Oh, that Liam! Yeah, I heard about him.
But you didn't know him?
No, I know he went to college, but didn't really know him. It's sad, though.
Have you seen this before?
Oh, is this the thing that James did? Yeah, I've heard of it.
What do you know about all this? A third eye, I think they were called?
I don't really know anything about it. I mean, I've heard about Liam's death, but all I know about Three Eyes or whatever is on this flyer.
So you hadn't heard about Third Eye?
No, sorry.
Be back later on, if that's okay. What do you know about a student called Liam? Committed suicide last year.
Only that I didn't know him really well.
Have you seen this?
Yeah. It was all over college last year. James made it. Idiot.
So you don't agree with what I'm saying?
No, I don't agree with anything James says. He's absolutely crazy. He thinks that the government has been controlled by aliens and that we're all bugged. He's nuts.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
And now, we'll make our way to go talk to Ryan.
A few more questions, if you don't mind. What can you tell me about Liam?
Oh, Liam. You mean the boy who committed... Very unfortunate, isn't it?
Did you know him?
Oh, yes. Well, when I say know him, I met him in the pub. Seemed very happy sort of person. Well, I say he seemed happy. He can't have been, can he?
What do you know about this?
Not much.
So you've never seen this before? You don't know anything about Third Eye?
Well, I don't remember seeing it now.
You don't recognize any of the symbols on it?
Sorry.
And we just caught him.
Aha. Ryan, you've just told me all about the moon symbols on the mask. Then you're claiming you don't know anything about the symbols on the flyer. It's all the same thing.
Oh, actually, yes. Sorry, yes, I do remember that.
So what did you know about Third Eye?
Oh, not much, really. Never came into contact with them.
Really?
That explanation was way too short. Ryan's definitely hiding something. That's it for the time being. Thank you.
Maybe we should go through a walk through the woods again.
Do you mind not defacing public property, please?
What's it to you?
Well, I'm a policeman.
And that's supposed to make what difference exactly?
It means that you do exactly what I tell you to do.
Or what? Or you arrest me?
No, I'll give you a fine this time.
So, if I do something that you don't like, I have to give you some money? What happens if you do something that I don't like? You're going to give me some money?
Look, I do not have time to discuss it at the moment. Can you just go?
Pathetic.
What a prize brat. But why would he carve that into a tree? Either he's a die-hard rock fan, or there's more to that symbol than meets the eye.
I was just amused by the girl in the background. She was just like there, just on her phone, like, I'm just here for this scene. When are we done? She looked like she didn't give a crap as to what was going on around her. As to what was going on between those two. She could have cared less. Like, I'm just here on my phone. Well, we could go to Ryan, but what do you guys say instead we go to another student at Atlas?
Couple more questions, if that's okay.
If I did, this, would that mean anything to you?
Who did you see doing that?
Someone in the woods, carving it into a tree.
That was Kyle. It's a guy from the course. He's an idiot.
And where does he live?
I can't remember. Somewhere outside the village? The 3 fingers thing is something the students started doing. It's something from the course. The 3 freedoms.
The what?
The 3 freedoms? It's from the course. It's a phrase.
Free to be free?
Free yourself from the things that are holding you back, right? Things that stop you being successful.
What are they?
There's fear of failure, guilt, and doubting, self-doubt.
You believe that?
Yeah. Guilt ruins lives. It stops you looking forward. It serves no practical purpose. It's basically destructive.
Right.
Free to be free. Not the most original slogan, but I wonder how far this freedom goes. Thank you. Probably be back later.
What do you guys say we just go ahead and go straight back to Ryan? We'll ask the others about it later, but right now let's go back to Ryan.
A few more questions, please. Thank you.
If I did this, would that mean anything to you?
It's a devil's sign, isn't it? Is that what you're getting at, Inspector?
This is not something you use on the course.
Of course it's not something we use on the course, Inspector. I don't even know what that could possibly mean exactly.
Can you tell me a bit about the phrase, free to be free?
Free to be free, my favourite motto. Well, we teach our students that people, they suffer from excessive guilt, don't they? Excessive self-criticism, excessive doubt. Evils of excess, we call them. And we tell our students that if they rid themselves of these evils, then they're free to realise their full potential.
Who came up with all this?
I have a background in psychology.
Honestly?
Yeah, don't look so surprised, Inspector. There's an intellect lurking in here.
When did you come up with the phrase?
When we were based at the village hall. When I say we, I came up with the phrase. Dad's more the money man.
And very successful at it too, I hear.
Oh, he's successful, but he's not a creative man. Dad suffers from a lack of imagination.
Now, we just got him. He just said they were based at the village hall. And he said they were never in contact.
Aha.
According to the flyer, this Third Eye group was based at the village hall, is that right?
Was it?
That's where you were based, wasn't it? Yeah, you said you invented the Atlas phrase free to be free while you were based at the village hall.
So I did.
So you must have come into contact with Third Eye at some point. You were using the same hall.
Well, I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with you, Inspector.
Go on.
You see, Third Eye is, or was, Atlas under a different name. Sorry.
Atlas is Third Eye?
In a new improved form, yes.
And you ran Third Eye?
With Dad, yes.
So you must have known Liam. You didn't just meet him, did you?
Yes, I knew him, Inspector, but don't get your hopes up. All of this has been thoroughly investigated and cleared up.
You've been investigated about his death?
They dropped the case. We didn't have anything to do with it. Well, when I say drop the case, I mean a police investigation is one thing, but what the public thinks is another. They threatened to go public, and then James bloody Wilson started distributing his flyers, and that was it. No choice. There was an end to it.
You had to change the name.
We'd already paid the family an out-of-court settlement. I thought that was an end to it. But then James and his cronies, they wouldn't leave it alone. So we had to close down, buy a new place, rebrand. So eventually, we reopened here.
As Atlas?
As Atlas.
And it worked?
Up till now, yes.
So you knew James Wilson too?
We knew James, but he didn't know us as such. Oh, he was very quick to shoot us down, but he didn't do anything like actually coming to the course to see what he was about.
So James wouldn't know that you were now running Atlas?
Not unless he came to one of our courses.
And how much of all that stuff was true? ECT machines, brainwashing?
I'm afraid that exists only exclusively in the mind of Mr. Wilson. All we do is make better business people. We challenge their prejudices and presumptions. Why don't you come along and see for yourself? The course starts in 15 minutes. Excuse me, Inspector. Hello. I can't come back now. Well, you have my car at the moment. All right. All right. See you later. That was Dad. I have to go back. You can come and meet him if you like.
Well, I might come and have a chat.
Come with me.
It's time to meet Mr. Paul Rand.
To be perfectly honest, Dad's a great businessman, but he lacks imagination. He does, however, believe in the power of the individual, when taught by the right teacher, of course. Ryan! In here. Just coming. He's through here.
To whom do I owe the pleasure?
Detective Inspector Jenks. I'm investigating a death in the village. I believe you knew Kate Vine.
Oh, I thought all this was dealt with, Inspector. You do know that Kate Vine was a gherkin short of a Big Mac. You do now.
Father.
You must forgive my son, Inspector. He still can't summon up the courage to come straight to the point. So what do you want to know?
Well, a few more questions if you don't mind.
Oh, but I do mind. I'm a very busy man. Try asking an intelligent question. Like, do I mind being quizzed about a once promising student who turned into a useless drunk? Ryan, would you mind leaving us for a while?
I'll go back to the centre. I have one or two things to prepare. Call me if you need me, Dad.
You may begin, Mr. Holmes, although I'm not going to be able to help you. I don't have much to do with the course nowadays, so I can't give you any hard information.
That's as maybe, but we
No,
need...
that's as is. But if you want my opinion, I'd be quite happy to give it to you. So, fire away.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Paul certainly doesn't take any prisoners. It's obvious who's pulling the strings in this family, and I wonder what they got up to in their previous guise as Third Eye. 8 o'clock already.
So when we return, we will be talking with Mr. Paul Rand. Stay tuned.